The BBR is back for another season of Pokemon Draft League. We had the worst record in BBR Season 7, but after showing what we are made of by making the semifinals of Low Tier Mayhem, we are back better than ever going into Season 8. This season, we are making a huge shakeup in the draft format, banning Terra for the first time in a Generation 9 Wi-Fi Draft League. With some other key bans being added like Dragapult and Deoxyspeed, the format is going to be a lot less powerful, meaning that each pick is going to be even more critical to get right, as those with the best team compositions are going to thrive in the end, without the ability to rely on the very powerful top-end threats and Terra captains. If you are excited for this season of the BBR, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. We have a lot of great draft content coming up this summer, which you'll definitely want to make sure you're subscribed for to not miss a single video. I was given the 16th pick for the second straight season going into the draft, which certainly put a bummer on the drafting process. Generation 9 is usually full of threats, with all of the Pokemon that are usually allowed but shouldn't be, the Dragapult and Deoxyspeed, and Terra Captains. There's usually a larger number of Pokemon to select from. For example, my round 1 pick of Palafin in Season 7 at the 16th pick ended up being drafted 4th overall this time around. This means that we need to take an extra focus on covering our roles early, drafting the top options role-wise first at each round. Diversifying our hazard setters, defensive checks, and other various utility Pokemon will be crucial in terms of our edge in this draft, as we can start to prioritize that in round 1 without a powerful first pick to go for. Most of the stronger Pokemon that we draft offensively will be in the 13 to 16 point range, meaning that we will likely have a chance to get them later in the draft if we prioritize our role compression early. With that perspective in mind, let's get into our first pick of the draft. We once again start our first wheel pick of the draft with Meowscarada, one of Generation 9's premier speed options. After the DLC came out, Meowscarada got access to Triple Axle, resulting in the term New Weavile coming about, and it has certainly lived up to that name ever since. Having the same offensive capabilities as Weavile outside of Swords Dance, with improved priority and Sucker Punch, as well as the ability to set up spikes and toxic spikes, this Pokemon is an easy first round pick when looking to cover off key roles as a primary objective. Our threats are on average going to be weaker as a result, so prioritizing the best hazard setters in the game will be key to enabling the Pokemon that we do end up with, as they are more likely to require hazards damage to win. It also forces our opponents to spend turns in prep worrying about these hazards, removing focus from our bigger threats and enabling better positions for them to win in the endgame. Meowscarada is certainly not the ideal round 1 pick, but despite my poor performance with it in BBR Season 7, I am confident that it will be very effective on the team that we ended up with. As will be the case with most of the picks on this team, we have another repeat team member in Iron Hands, a Pokemon that we have seen twice already on this channel in BBR Season 6 and GBU. It is for good reason this Pokemon keeps showing up, as its utility to do such a wide variety of roles offensively and defensively is unmatched, making it a no-brainer in our initial wheel selection. In BBR Season 6, this Pokemon was often used defensively, able to check some of Draft League's scariest threats, and threaten teams with powerful close combats and leverage momentum moves like Volt Switch. On this team, we are likely to see a higher concentration of offensive Iron Hand sets, with Swords Dance and Choice Band sets more likely given the lower power of the format without key threats in Terra. This gives us the opportunity to showcase more of what Iron Hands can offer as one of the best offensive threats in Generation 9. Volcarona rejoins the BBR team this season. While without Terra, Volcarona is still a massive threat. We use this Pokemon with Terra to great effect in Season 6, getting many sweeps with Quiver Dance and Terra Fairy and Water. We do not have Terra this time around, which while limiting its ability to sweep teams, does open up opportunities for us to get more creative with it in the team builder. Fire and Bug is a very unique typing defensively, which we saw used to great effect against J. Ricky in BBR Season 6, being a solid answer defensively to Iron Valiant. These defensive utility sets and choice spec sets, for example, are likely to see a bigger role this season, as we'll have a tougher time Quiver Dance sweeping teams that are equipped to handle the bug and fire coverage without access to Terra. Screamtail is another Pokemon that I have drafted for the 3rd time, having drafted it in the GBU and BBR Summer Scramble. When looking to prioritize role compression early on, Screamtail is a no-brainer to reach for early in round 4. Its ability to be a very solid defensive wall, while also having a very good speed tier to take advantage of moves like Encore, makes this Pokemon one of the best utility Pokemon in the entire Paldea dex. Not to mention, it is one of the few viable fairy type Pokemon as well, a typing that is very difficult to come across in this metagame. Powerful dragon types like Latios, Garchomp, and Baxcalibur are still in the format, the latter of the two being able to take advantage of Scale Shot, meaning that a solid fairy type is important to have to deter these offensive Scale Shot sets in the metagame. Landorus Incarnate is a Pokemon I am not very familiar with using, as it has been oftentimes banned in previous generations when I have played, but we have it here as our 5th pick in the draft. As an offensive threat, it is extremely threatening, able to leverage Life Orb and Sheer Force to do massive damage with its wide variety of physical and special coverage moves. Access to setup moves is another big draw offensively, with access to Bulk Up, Calm Mind, and Nasty Plot, giving us a wide variety of setup options that are difficult to prepare for in combination. We also get another Hazard Setter, a role I am very focused on having in multiples to allow me to use my more defensive Pokemon like Screamtail in a wider variety of roles outside of being the dedicated Stealth Rock user. If you have watched my previous draft analysis videos, one of the roles I haven't prioritized often in this generation is hazard removal. I haven't found that removing hazards is particularly worth the turns it takes to do so, but with this pick we were looking for a bulky water and Blastoise fits the bill. The big draw to Blastoise is that it gains Shell Smash in this generation, making it not only a defensive rapid spinner, but also an endgame win condition. This will force teams into setting dedicated checks to this set, using Mirror Herb or other utility Pokemon into a Pokemon that might only end up being a defensive tool in the matchup. This stresses on a team's ability to create a balanced game plan, which will lead to me winning a lot of games in the team builder, something that will be critical with the lack of top tier threat on this team, like an Iron Valiant or a Darkrai. The main benefit to us filling our roles early is that we get access to pick from some of the powerful options left on the board at the end of the draft. In GBU, we did a poor job of this, getting Ursaluna in a later round, which we ended up not bringing at all that season. This time, we get a Pokemon that will surely have a lot more utility in Dragonite. While usually a menace with Terra, especially in VGC where Terra Normal Extreme Speed is a massive threat, it is still one of the more powerful setup sweepers available in Generation 9 Draft League. Between Dragon Dance and using the multi-scale ability to take advantage of weakness policy, this Pokemon has great win condition potential while also being a powerful user of the Choice Band item with Outrage and Extreme Speed to threaten teams without fairies or clean in the very end game. With our final few picks in the draft, the only role that we had left to fill was a defensive Steel type. Registeel at 7 points gives us a great answer to that problem. We get another Stealth Rocker, which is something we have in abundance at this point, giving us the ultimate flexibility in deciding our Stealth Rocker every week. As someone who plays a lot of ADV Draft League, running the biggest Generation 3 Draft League tournament on Discord with my friend Kaz, this is a Pokemon that I am very comfortable with, having used it many times over the years. While it hasn't gained a lot of tools since then, Body Press being introduced in Generation 9 gives it a very powerful attacking option, making it a potential win condition as well with Iron Defense sets. Generally, this is a Pokemon designed to take resisted hits, spam Stealth Rock, Thunder Wave, and other utility moves, enabling our setup sweepers and our offensive Pokemon. Our final pick is Bruxish, and while I don't expect it to come to very many games, it does serve a valuable purpose on this team. It packs a solid punch offensively with the Strong Jaw ability, so teams with poor water and psychic resists have to seriously consider this Pokemon in their preparation. Its speed tier is also critical. At 92, it patches up a gap in our speed tiers between 80 and 100, forcing players to consider its speed tier when speed creeping. This means that our opponents are going to be forced into situations to run speed boosting natures over attack boosting natures, as well as forcing to run more speed, losing access to some extra bulk by not having a single Pokemon in that speed tier range. For 3 points, this is certainly worth the pick on the team. And that is our team for BBR Season 8. I think despite the poor draft position in a draft board not great for the final few picks of round 1, we ended up with one of the best teams in the league. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of the team and how you would rate it compared to the other teams in the league. Our schedule this season has a lot of great players, including a week 1 battle against my sworn enemy Dietite, and some rematches against players like Dal, D-Ray, and John Jr. We also get to play against 6 Foot Hacks, a player who has been in the community almost as long as I have at this point. A schedule and a season you certainly will not want to miss over the coming weeks. If you made it this far and are not subscribed already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We have a lot of great content coming out this summer for Draft League, and you're not going to want to miss a single upload of the BBR or any of the other videos we have coming out. That's all I have for today. I will see you next week with week 1 of the BBR against Diet Tight, and as always, have a wonderful day.